Good morning and welcome to a new edition of Just Daf It, Daf Yomi Shir, Yevamos, Daf Lamed Zion 37. We have a fabulous shir for you today. It's going to revolve around this concept of suffix. We're talking about doubts in mamzerus, whether a child's a mamzer, doubts if a person is the real inheritor for Yerusha. A lot of suffix, and Ben Sion, of course, is going to discuss this concept of Sogdi Raisa Lakumra or Lakula. I mentioned that really normally, unless there's two valid opinions, you would go Sogdi Raisa Lakula. We're going to find out how it plays out by Sofik Mamzer or not. Let's start the Gemara on Lamavama base towards the bottom. The Gemara says, Amrle, the first line is Amrle, about 7 lines from the bottom. Lamavama base. Amrle Ravashi Rav Hushai Breder of Iti. Hasam Tanam, we learned over there. Anyone who waited, any child who waited 30 days, meaning they were viable for 30 days, and even after they died, even if they died afterwards, not considered a nefel, it's not considered a miscarriage or someone who's not a valid child. So the Gemara implies, Halo Shah, if the child didn't wait 30 days, die within the first 30 days, Sveika heavy. It's a suffix whether the child is a viable child. Ve'itmar, and we learned also Meis Beso Shloshim Yom Amdu in this kasha. If the child died within 30 days, right? Again, this is a situation of Yibum over here. She did right. We're not sure whether, like our Mishnah is talking about, right? Where the brother died and he left the Milberis. He left the wife that was pregnant, and she actually had a child, but the child died before reaching 30 days. So therefore, in a sense, we're seeing over here, like I was saying yesterday in the Ben Sion, that once the child is born, even though he dies within 30 days, it still is considered to be a p'tur for Chalitza, and you consider a viable child. So let's say she went and she was niskadsha. She got married to somebody else. The Yevama, right? Now, if the child is a viable child, that means that she's muteris to marry somebody else because her original husband had children, and therefore she's not even shuk. She's not. There's no constructs of yibum. But here the child died, so she was niskad. If she's married now to a Jew, the new man she's in mikudeshes to is a Jew. She does chalitza, right? Just to make sure, because technically, midrabanan, the child did die. So therefore, she is a Yevama, because her original husband didn't have any children. And therefore, she would have to go and do chalitza, because there's no problem doing chalitza, even though married to Yisrael, she'd still be allowed to do chalitza and then proceed to get married to Yisrael. This chalitza doesn't make her asura to Yisrael. What happens though, we may just Kohen he ain't a chalatz. Serena says that if she's married now, she's in this kadeshes to a Kohen, where if she would do chalitza, we make her chalutza, she would be usher to a new husband. We don't make her do that. There's only the chumrah, midaraisa. It's considered to be a child, even though the child dies within 30 days. It's considered to be a child. He argues. He says in either case, even if she's married to a Kohen, just do chalitza, which would make her usher to the Kohen. Amalei Ravina Lar Masharsha, this is to Masharsha. Top of line Zion Amin Aleph, or Samar Rava Hachi with Safra Hadrbek. He says you're right. Rava originally said what you're saying, which is usher, and then in the morning he was closer, but when he said he really doesn't need chalitza. Amalei Sharisu. So he said, Rasharshi said back to Ravina, you allowed it? Yehi Rabba Tishru Aftarba. You're so makel. Why don't you go mati or forbidden fats already? Meaning he was basically saying to him, you're wrong. He never really matered it. You can't be makel on this. Hacha. So here now the Gemara turns to what we were talking about before. Gabi Muberas Chavero Minekes Chavero. And Nesua Lakoin Mai. We discussed yesterday this case. If someone, you're not allowed to marry someone who's either pregnant, her husband died or divorced her, or she's still nursing, her husband died or divorced her. You're not allowed to marry her until she weans the baby at 24 months. And Sua Lakohen, but she went ahead and she didn't listen, and another man married her. He married her within this time period, right? So again, there's a concern she's going to become pregnant and she's going to have to uh, get the child off of the milk. So therefore, because I to the child, she violated Isdar Abana, which didn't allow them to get married. Let's say she married illegally. She married a Kohen. My mi Rabbanah takanta the Kohen olo. Did they make a takana? Normally, he said according to Meir and Rabbanah, he has to divorce her. So he has to divorce her. She's a grusha, and if she was a grusha, I can never remarry her because a grusha is also the Kohen. I'm really haki. So he said back to Bishlam Hasam over there. I came with the Ikar Rabban the Pali leather Shem Galil Amri Avagav the Shah Vlad Ma'alya Heavy Gabi Ishis Kohen came with the Efshar Avdinan Karabanan. We have a machlokes between Rabbanan and Rashon Gamliel. Right, Rashon Gamliel says Rashon Gamliel says that if the child didn't live for 30 days, it's a suffix whether it's a real child. Now the Rabbanan says it's a valid child, even if it doesn't live 30 days. This is a machlokes elsewhere. So the Rabbanan allow it. Gabi Cohen came in the left shar of Dinan Karabbanan. So therefore, by Isha's Cohen, where we don't want to do chalitza, we assume the child, like the Rabbanan, is viable completely. Even if there is vada, is viable completely, and therefore there is no mitzvah. She's not a yevamo. There's no contract of yevamo. She's allowed to marry anyone. She doesn't have to do chalitza. So therefore, we rely on the Rabbanan. You don't have to do chalitza. Come on, Navid. Here, in this case, with the muberes chaver, minekas chaver, what are we going to do? Ikar Meir Amar Yoti V'Liasir Alamis. Machlokes Rameir and Rabbanan, everyone agrees you have to do gerushin. Rameir says you do gerushin, you can never get remarried. Rabbanan Amri beget, they say you have to get rid of her a get, then you can remarry her, but everyone agrees you have to give her a get. So therefore the Gemara resolves this. Simple explanation. The Gemara is saying that there's no choice, you have to give a get, she can never marry the Kohen. Itmar, a new teaching. Kidsha b'so shlosha, baruch. He was Makadish, a woman. Right, when they said that if you marry somebody, a different woman, right, she's not pregnant or not, you have to wait 3 months before you marry someone else's wife because we're concerned that she maybe is pregnant from the first. We're not going to know who the father is, right? We're not going to find. So you wait 3 months, and we can be assured that the child is born, and she's not hooker the vlad. After 3 months, the vlad is, you can see in the belly of the woman whether she's pregnant. Now, if she marries her, she's not pregnant. You know the child is coming from the second husband, not the first husband. So let's say he was Makadish or B'toshal Baruch. Normally, if he's Makadish, he has to separate from her, divorce her. And then he ran away. One says, no, you put him in Nidoy and you force him to give a get. He ran away. So wherever he comes close to the community, we keep the community away from him. We force him to give a get, like the halacha is. So I'm saying, no, the fact that he ran away shows that he doesn't plan on getting remarried. The whole reason we make him give a get is because we're afraid they might consummate the marriage and there's going to be a problem. We're not going to know who the child is. But the fact that he ran away, and he ran away for a long time, when he shows he doesn't plan on getting remarried within 3 months. There was an incident where this actually happened. Rav from Paskin, halacha, the fact that he ran away, so therefore it's good enough. We don't need to actually put him in Nidoy. We don't have to force him to give a gerushin. Savik bein Tesha, Mishnah says we're not sure if he's the child. Again, the Yavam did Yibum without waiting 3 months. He did Yibum. And we're not sure who the child is. The child, a 9-month-old child, a 9-month gestation child for the first husband, or a 7-month gestation for the second husband. Why don't we go after the Rov? Rov Nashim Latisha Yalda. And Rov Nashim go after, they were born, most women carry a baby for 9 months. Therefore, we can assume it's the first husband's child, in which case, the first husband's child, in which case, there's no construct of Yom Chalitza. And then, technically, when the brother does Yibum, he's marrying Eishes Ach. There's no mitzvah of Yibum over here, in which case you bring a Chatas, not an Asham Tola, like the Gemara. Asham Tola is a korban brought al Safek, when you're not sure if you're Chayav Karis. Here it should be a Chatas, because you know you're Chayav Karis based on the Rov. Relation Tishiyal. Then Amalei Nashi done the Shiva Yal. He says our women give birth sometimes to 7 months. Amalei Nashi did have a ruba the Alma. Let's say you have a specific place. I don't know your place. The wives are weaker over there. They can't hold the baby for 9 months. They give birth in 7 months. But your place is a small place. You go Rova Olam. Amalei Hachi Kamina. What I meant to say is like this: Rov Nashim Yal on the Tisha Omiya the Shiva. Most women give birth after 9 months. Some after 7. Call you as a Tisha. Ubra Nikar L'Shlish. Anyone who gives birth after 9 months, the child is recognizable after 3 months. And this child, since that 3-month period, it wasn't recognizable. Itrale Ruba. The rove is gone away. Right? It ruins the rove. Therefore, you can't go bust a rove. So the Gemara says, if we say everyone who gives birth after 9 months, you can see after 3 months, so then we could assume the opposite. If you don't see every woman who gives birth after 9 months, it's recognized after 3 months. Right, let's check her out. Check the woman after 3 months. If the child is recognizable after 3 months, he got married after 2 months, and then after the 3rd month, he's already married to the Yavam for a month. Check it out. If he's not, so then we can for sure say it's a second husband, child, in which case it's a mitzvah of Yibum, and there's no reason to bring Asham Tali at all. You didn't do anything wrong. So we have to say like this, that most women who give birth after 9 months, it's recognizable their pregnancy after 3 months. This woman at 3 months, it wasn't recognizable. Israel Ruba. It ruins her rove. What rove? The rove that most women give birth after 9 months. So it ruins that rove. So it's Safek Ashakla, and you can bring Asham Tole. It's an even Safek, you can bring Asham Tole. We said now this child, if the Yavam did Yibum within these 3 months, so he, Mimanav Shach, whichever way you look at it, he could be a Kohen Gadol. There's nothing wrong with his lineage. Because if he was a child of the first husband, nothing wrong with it. They were married legally. And if the child of the Yavam with the Yavama, that means that the Yavam, the deceased brother, had no children, in which case it was a mitzvah of Yibum. If there's a mitzvah of Yibum, so then the first child is a kosher legamrei, mitzvah of Yibum. And it was a mitzvah to take her and have the child. The Sheni, the Bryce said, the Sheni moms are misafik. The second child, if this couple remains married and they have another child, then that second child, the moms are misafik. Why second child, the moms are misafik? Because if really the first child belongs to the first brother who died, that would make no mitzvah of Yibum. It's not a construct of Yibum over here. In which case, the marriage of the Yavam to this Yevama is Eshasah. And the first child was okay because it was the first brother's child. The second child is the second couple's child, and it's Nisr Eshasah. So it would be a Safek Mamzer, a Safek whether the child's a Mamzer or not. Lezer ben Yaakov Omer, ein Mamzer misafek. Lezer ben Yaakov says a strange statement. He says there's no Mamzer misafek. In the case of Safek, there's no mamzer. What did he mean by this? We're going to try to figure that out. So the Gemara says, wearing new contact lenses today. This Baal Shem Lom brand I got. It's a little, I don't know, my eyes are having a problem reading this small print over here. It's kind of confusing. I'll try to get through this. My comment, what did Rav Eliezer Yaakov say? Amar Abai Achi Gamar Rishon Roy Elios Kohen Gadol. First one, it could be a Kohen Gadol. Sheni Safek Mamzer, V'Asr B'Mazeres. And therefore, what does he mean to tell you it's a Safek Mamzer? He can't marry, even if she's a Mamzeres Vadai, Safek Mamzer can't marry. Lezer Omer, Eno, that's the Tana Kama. Lezer Omer, Eno Safek Mamzer, Vadai Mamzer. Lezer says that even though really technically she's a Safek Mamzer, the child is a Safek Mamzer, but we treat the Safek Mamzer like a Vadai Mamzer, meaning he holds the Safek Mamzer is allowed to marry a Vadai Mamzer. That's what he meant to say. Uteres b'mamzeres. She can therefore marry mamzeres. Rava Amar Hachi Amar. Rava argues on Abai. He says this is what Tanakama and Eliezer Yaakov meant to say. Rishon Elios Kohen Gadol. Sheni mamzer vadai misafik. The second one is a certain. It's a suffix, but he's treated as a mamzer vadai mutter mamzeres, and he's mutter mamzeres. Eliezer Yaakov Omer ein vadai mamzer misafik. El suffix mamzer asur mamzeres. He says a suffix mamzer doesn't convert to a vadai. She remains a suffix mamzer, and therefore she's asur mamzeres. exactly the opposite. Abai and Rava have it's a machlokas. Then like I'm Elazar ben Yaakov, Abai and Rava switch which one says which. The kamifli with the Elazar. Abai and Rava are arguing on the based on a statement of Elazar. The Snan Elazar Omer Mishnah says vadan mutter. Mishnah and Kedushin says if you have a vadai mamzer and a vadai mamzer, they're mutter to marry each other. Mamzer and mamzer are mutter to marry. Vadan besveikan sekim vadan. If one is a mamzer and one is a safek mamzer, sveikan or both are safek mamzer, so aser. They're both aser because presumably go safek doreis. So the chomer of Elohe and sveikan, what's considered a safek? Shtuki, basufi, bekusi. These are three examples of a safek. Shtuki is considered to be where we know the mother, but when the child asks, "Who's my father?" the mother hushes the child because she's not sure. So therefore, we're worried that she was nivelis to someone who's chayvik karis. Therefore, it's a savik mamzer. Asufi is a child that's left in the marketplace. You don't know who the parents are. We assume the reason the parents left it is because it was a child of a mamzer, a forbidden relationship. Akusi are people that are a certain type of gerim that converted out of fear. Therefore, they're not really sure whether they're considered to be Jewish or not, and they didn't believe. Also, the Kusim didn't believe in Torah Shbal Peh, so therefore, even the Kedushin and Kedushay Kesef and Kedushay Shtar are learned out of a Gzera Shav, are learned out of Torah Shbal Peh, and therefore they didn't hold the Torah Shbal Peh. They didn't hold people were actually Mekadesh or with a Shtar or Kesef. They would hold it's not considered a good Kedushin, even though technically it is considered a good Kedushin. They would allow her to marry somebody else without a get from the first one. That would create Nation should create Mamzerim. The Amar Rav Yehuda Mashmarav Halacha K'Elezer. Rav Yehuda says in the name of Rav Halacha follows Rav Elezer. Can we just the Shmuel? When Rav Yehuda said it in front of Shmuel, Amar Li Hil Shana Eshen Yuchsin Alam Babel. 10 lineages, types of lineage came from Babel. Kani Levi Israeli, right? Kani Levi Israeli, you know what those are. Halaldim are psule kahuna. They're born, let's say, a kohen marries a grusha, and they have a child. It's called a chalal. Geri are gerim. Haruri are avadim shichro. They're meshuchrar. Mamzeri are mamzerim born or forbidden union. Sini were these types of people that faked Yehoshua into converting them. So it's a selfie geras. Shtuki vasufi. Again, we mentioned what shtuki vasufi before. Kulan mutar lo. All these are mutter to marry each other. It doesn't mean exactly all these are mutter to marry each other. We divide these into three categories. In all three categories, within each category, they're allowed to marry each other. The last category being including people like Geri, Haruri, Mamzer, Nasini, Shtuki, Vasufi. All these basically a suffix, Mamzer, Mamzer, suffix, Mamzer. Adamar halacha Elazar, and you said halacha follows Rav Elazar. That Rav Elazar says. He says Sveikum is Sveikum is Asar. We see here Sveikum is Sveikum is Mutter. Abai Sarva Laka Shmuel. So Abai held like Shmuel. Amar Halacha Kihila. Like Hillel Mukila Elazar ben Yaakov. I'll leave with the Hilchah. So therefore he wanted to construct the opinion of Elazar ben Yaakov, who normally we pass into Elazar ben Yaakov with the Rabbanan, because Mishnaso Kavanaki Elazar ben Yaakov says a clean Mishnah. He says a clear psak halacha. So therefore he wanted to say Lachaval Elazar ben Yaakov. So therefore he says. He held like Shmuel that Sveika and Sveika are mutter. So he held Elazar and Yaakov held that Sveika Savik Mamzer as mutter. He didn't want the halachas to conflict with each other. Rav held like Rav. The Amar Halachah Elazar the Mukila it's Sveika and Asurim. Mukila the Elazar ben Yaakov Aliba the Hilchah. So therefore he concluded Elazar ben Yaakov with halachas like also holds Savik Mamzer as Asar Kihechi Lo Tikshi Hilchah. Top of Lamed Zayin Amid Beis Ahilchasa. Amar Abaye. Abaye says Mina Minallah. Chos Feiko Elazar ben Yaakov Kavadai Mishavele. How do you know Elazar ben Yaakov? He holds it's like a Vadai, in which case it's mutter. We assume a Suffolk Mamzer is treated like a Vadai Mamzer. And therefore it's mutter to marry a Mamzer. Sasani Elazar ben Yaakov Omer Haresha Baal Nashim Harbe. Someone, a man, sleeps around. He went with a lot of women. He doesn't know who the mother is. Or a woman who was a type of woman, like it's a prostitute, or a type of woman that she went slept with a lot of men. She doesn't know who the father is. So therefore it comes out that a father can end up marrying his daughter, and a brother can marry his sister, right? They don't know that they have the same mother, the same father. And this Malik Olam Kulam Mamzerim, the whole world is going to be filled with Mamzerim. Zen Emar Malar Zima, the world will be filled with prostitution, abomination. So therefore, you see, and these are Safek Mamzerim, right? We don't know. One of them, brother can marry a sister, so the Safek Mamzer, so he's worried about a Safek Mamzer. So he considers a Suffolk Mamzer, right? Because we don't know that it's very small chance that a brother married a sister, but the fact that it might be a Suffolk Mamzer is enough to establish as a Vade Mamzer, in which case it's a fulfillment of the pasuk Malar Zima. The Torah is telling you that is the way that the world will be filled with lewdness. Rava Amar Lecha, Rava says, how do you interpret this pasuk? It doesn't mean which is Vadim is there Zumai if it's a place like this where men are sleeping around, women are sleeping around. Zumai, we don't know what it is. It's a suffix, but it's don't treat it like a Vadim Mamzer. Yes, like Amar Lezer and Yaakov. Lezer Yaakov says further. Lo Yisa Adam Isham Niazu. Not only if you do it illegally, you're sleeping around, but let's say you want to marry a woman in one country. You shouldn't marry a wife in one country, marry another wife in another country. It's not so clear, right, who the brothers and sisters are, because you could have a child from one wife, a child from another wife, and then they'll fly to a different country, the children, and they get married. So you see also, Raj Yaakov seems to hold that a suffix, where we treat the suffix that the brother might marry the sister as a vadai. I mean, Rava would interpret it to say that it's a suffix, it's a problem creating suffix mamzerim, and Abai would interpret it to mean that it's talking about Vade Mamzer, and we'll talk about this more in Ben Sion. Any, is this true? You know how to do this? Rezer Yaakov says, "How Rav ki ikla dar this year." When he came to this dar this year based machas, Amar man havi lioma. He had this is a Gemara Yuma we talked about. If you learn Yuma with me, he would marry a woman for a date. So the reason they give over here is that he didn't want to have come to sin. Meaning doing something illegally. Either he would take another woman illegally without marrying her, because he had a taiva for a woman when he was away on his business trips, or collecting money for his yeshiva. He had a taiva for other women, so either he might sleep with someone out of wedlock, or he might be multi-zar about Tala. I don't know. That's implied over here. He wanted to, or he wouldn't have hear her, he wouldn't think negatively, so therefore he married. He would marry another woman for a date and then get divorced for her. Yeah, this concept is a foreign concept of Rabbanim. You think the opposite of Rabbanim. You know, there's a famous story I heard about this rabbi, Rav Svi Meyer Zilberberg. He went to just the opposite, to show how opposite it is nowadays. He's a big rabbi now. And he was invited to Chicago. I don't know, to machazik the community, to strengthen the community over there. He said, I can't come. I said, why not? He said, I can't stay in a building where there's going to be a woman. Now, the rich guy wanted him to come. He said, you know what? I own the whole apartment building. I'm going to pay vouchers for everyone in the apartment building to go to a hotel for Shabbos. You can come stay in the apartment. He would not stay in the apartment building. Not only there was a woman on his floor or in his room, in his apartment, in the whole building. You know, there'd be one woman in the whole building. So the way it happened was that he went to Chicago, and right as they agreed to the stipulations. Before he was able to go into the apartment, at the doorway of the apartment, he stopped. He froze. He said, I can't go in. So this rich person said, why not? I gave them all vouchers. They're supposed to leave by 12 o'clock on Friday afternoon. He said, no, there's a woman inside. They went in, they checked, they found the woman in there. An older woman, I don't know, 60s, 70s. She was packing, she was still late in packing, she didn't get out. They say, tremendous Kedusha. I was delivery. They was able to feel that there was another woman in there. But another thing you see from the story is that he was so concerned even to have even one woman in the same apartment complex where he was staying for Shabbos. These other Rabbanim in the Gemara, they were busy marrying other women. Maybe you'd say the same idea. They shouldn't have negative thoughts. So therefore, Zilberg didn't want to marry. We don't do that. You don't marry other women nowadays. So you didn't want to have bad thoughts. So you didn't want to have a woman in the entire building. And that's a high level of Kedusha. That a woman in a different floor, you can feel the presence of her. Anyway, these other Rabbanim, it's interesting, the Gemara would marry, they'd marry a woman. Also, that was Rav's practice. Amarman Havili Omer, Rav Nachman, Gigel Shachinsiv, Machaz, Amarman Havili Omer, when he came to the Shachinsiv place, he also would marry a woman for a day. So after this, we just said before, you're not supposed to go to one country, one city, and marry someone else there. You're going to cause something mamzera. So whereas Shiny Rabbanan, the Ki Shemayu. The Gemara's Rabbanan are different because the way Archgal explains is their names are famous, and everyone knows if they have a child, this is a child of the rabbi, of this rabbi, and they're not going to come to intermarry with their brother and sister. I'm a Rava, but Rava says, how could they do this in the first place? If you decide you get married to a woman and she agrees, she has to wait 7 days because she's going to see blood from chimud. She's a zayra. She wants to get married. She's going to see blood. Therefore, she waits 7 days to be tar from dam nida. Rabbanan shluchayim mashadri modi lehu. So no, the Rabbanan before they went to these cities, they would send a shliach to get her agreement, and then 7 days later they would come when she's clean. Alternatively, Rabbanan yichudi ba'alma hu demiyachdi lehu. All they would do is they actually wouldn't sleep with the other woman. They would just be miyachid. They'd marry them and miyachid with them. If you have bread in your basket, you're not going to have hirurim for other women. You're not going to have feelings for other women because you technically, even he would marry them, so they could be miyachid with them. And this would also resolve why there's no dam chimba, there's no dam nida, because they're not sure that they're going to be both of them, so therefore they didn't have dam chimba, they don't have a lust for sexual relations, so therefore they didn't have dam nida, so that would solve that problem. Interesting, there's another thing. You shouldn't marry a woman, and when you marry her, you have in mind to divorce her right away. You shouldn't have secret thoughts on your friend to do bad with him. He thinks he's your friend. He thinks you're entering a good deal with him, and you're really trying to take advantage of him. That's why when you marry a woman and she thinks you want to have a lasting relationship and you plan on divorcing her, that's not being fair. Interesting, this comment in the Gemara, Rezin Yaakov is the same one who says this, and we just had the Rabbanan who did something like this. Why does the Gemara bring that in? You have to answer that yourself. Continue the Gemara. A new case. Here we're talking about inheritance. So we're talking about the suffix. The suffix again is this child which was born. We're not sure if he belongs to the first father or the second father of Yavam, right? Shabo lachlach b'nichsei misna. The Yavam is the man who married the Yavama, and the suffix is this child. So they want to inherit, right? B'nichsei misna. They want to inherit the property of the deceased brother. Suffix Amar. The suffix says Ana bar misna. I'm the son of the misna. Nichsei didihu. It's my possession because you had no right to do yibum. Because there's no contract with Yibam, he had a son. So there's no Yibam, so it's my possession. Yavam says, we don't know who this guy is. He says, you're actually my child. Who says you're the son of the first one? I say you're the son of my son. You don't have any relationship. I didn't die yet. It's my nechasim. It's each one has a taina misafik. Therefore, we split the Yerusha. A second case. This suffix, this child, which is a suffix, b'nei Yavam, the children of the Yavam. Children of the Yavam is, well, we know who the Yavam is. He's the brother of the deceased brother. And he has children. They want to take possession of the deceased brother's property. Suffix Amar Hu Gavra Bar Misno. He says, I am the child of the dead person. B'nei Yavam Amri. They say, no, you're the child of the second of the brother, not the deceased brother, the brother, and you're our brother, and you have a portion of our father's inheritance. The Rabbanan said it must be a Mishnah later on. It's not who in a Yorish Osam, him Yorishin also. Mishnah says later on that if you have not related to Yibam, you have a child again with a suffix being Teshel Rish Tavim Shiva Lachar, and he married the mother remarried within 3 months, so we don't know who the child is. So he's a suffix. He's a suffix, and he wants to get inheritance of one of the fathers who died. So he's a suffix, and they're Vadai Yorshim. They're Vadai sons of brother that died. So he can't, a suffix can't get a portion because um, he's a suffix, and they are a vadai. Here it's the exact opposite. Asam amri le isi raya v'shkol. Hacha amrlu isi raya v'shkolu. There they say to him, bring proof that you're, one of the brothers, our brother. And here they're saying to him, bring proof that you're our brother, or that you're the son of the deceased brother, deceased brother, and take. So they're a vada and a suffix. I'm going to sharsh me dami. How can you correct? Because awesome inu vada e suffix. He was suffix. They're for sure inheritors, and the suffix is a suffix. Hacha idi vidi suffix. Suffix. Both of them are really suffix. El idami l'masisan lahadami. It's compared to the Mishnah. It's compared to this case. The suffix b'nei yavam shkal lach l'b'nei yavam. Gufe. The suffix. We're not sure who is the son of. Ubnei yavam, and the child of the yavam. After not only the deceased brother died, but also the second brother died. Gufe, the Hasam Amrile, Isi Raya, the Achvana Vishkol. There already, it's passed on to the Yavam already, so it's in the Yavam's possession. So now the children of the Yavam are Vadai, so he has to prove that you're the brother, our brother, because if you're the brother of the first one, you get nothing. So the suffix is a suffix, and they're Vadai. Now, a fourth case. Suffix b'nei yavam sheba olach l'b'nichse yavam l'basar the palag yavam b'nichse misna. You have the suffix child and the children of the yavam after the yavam already got the possession of his deceased brother. B'nei yavam amri isi raya dachvana v'shkol. B'nei yavam say you have to bring a proof that you're our brother. Amalhu suffix manav shayu. If I'm your brother, I'm actually your brother. I'm the second brother's child. So give me a portion. If I'm the actual son of the first one, then we go back to the original discussion, right? It means the first brother had a son, in which case, like our first case, where it's a suffix ashakal, and Maman Mutabas suffix, we say Cholkin, I get a half. I would get you're the kids of the Yavam, you're entitled to half, and I get the other half because I'm the inheritor of the father, the deceased brother. Rabbi Abba Rav Kamdina. It says no, once it already passed on to the Yavam, so therefore we don't go back and reopen the case. Rabbi says we do go back and we do reopen the case, in which case he has a claim. Either he gets half or he gets whatever portion is among the brothers, and therefore the median between the two he would get. Hope you enjoyed today's share. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.